Welcome to this Final Cut Pro training. My name is Larry Jordan. This is part of Chapter 3, Working with Events. In this session, I want to define an event, show you how to use the event library to organize clips, show you how to create, copy, move, merge, or even delete events, and show you how to use the event browser to manage clips. We're going to cover media management in Chapter 4 and keywords and metadata in Chapter 5. An event is a collection of clips, generally organized around a common theme such as shoot date or subject. Events are stored in the Final Cut Events folder, which is a database for clips. The event library lists all the events stored on all hard disks that are currently connected to your computer, and the event browser displays the contents of a single event. You can view the browser in either list or thumbnail view. There is only one Final Cut Events folder per connected hard disk. However, you can have a separate events folder on each hard disk. One events folder holds an unlimited number of events, and each event can hold an unlimited number of clips. Each event is linked to a specific project, but clips stored in events can be used by any project. Here's the key points. Use Final Cut for all media management, not the Finder. Never rename any files in the Final Cut Events folder on your hard disk. Apple says that by storing clips in a database, events provide faster clip access, greater stability, and the ability to create larger projects without bogging down. When you are importing clips into an event, you have two choices. You can copy the files to the Final Cut Events folder or link to the current file locations. Copying means Final Cut moves the files from wherever they're stored on your hard disk into the Final Cut Events folder. Linking means that you've already organized where those files are stored, and Final Cut is just going to point to them. By default, Final Cut stores media files in the Final Cut Events folder, which means by default, Final Cut will copy your media from wherever it is into the Final Cut Events folder. Now let me show you how to create an event, then how to use the event library to copy an event to a different hard disk, move an event to a different hard disk, merge two events into a single event, and delete an event. Then we'll use the event browser to rename a clip and to delete a clip. This is the event browser, which is a list of all the clips we have in a single event. And we can view all these different clips with the skimmer as we've already come to expect. If we click this icon right down here, the event library opens up. If you put your cursor between those two windows where it divides, you can drag it wider so you can make it either narrower or wider so you can read the actual text that's there. Each event is indicated with a star icon. And as we can see on our second drive, I have 3 events grouped by year into 2 different categories. On my third drive, I don't have any events at all. In fact, when you click on it, it says no events exist on this disk. And if you went over to the Finder and looked, there would not be a Final Cut Events folder on the hard drive. There are 3 ways that we can create an event. You go up to the File menu, go down to New Event, or use the keyboard shortcut Option N, or Control-click in the event library and say New Event. However you decide to do it, let's create it, and when you do, it automatically creates a new event and today's date. So I'm going to just erase this and say My New Event, give it a name, and hit the Enter key. By default, it sorts all of your events by year. And now you're ready to import files either from your hard drive or from a camera, and Chapter 4 talks about media management in detail, so I'm not going to cover it here. If you want to get rid of an event, you can either Control-click on it or right mouse click on it and say Move Event to Trash, or hold down the Command key and press the Delete key, Command Delete, or go up to the File menu and say Move Event to Trash. Well, let's just select that, and not only is the event deleted, but the year that contained the event, in fact the whole event folder, has been deleted from the hard drive. If there were clips inside that folder, those clips would be deleted as well. Now, they're not actually deleted. They're actually stored in the trash. So if you made some egregious mistake, just go to the trash, open it up, and you can pull your files back again. But in this particular case, we're going to let those files disappear. I've got this little project called the GNOME project, and I've decided that I want to move it from the second drive to the third drive. To do that, select the project, go up to File, go down to Move Event. It says, what hard drive do you want to move it to? I'm going to move it to my third drive. Now, a move means that it's going to copy the media to the new location and then delete it from the old location. So the media only exists in one place. When I click OK, it's now created a new event folder on my third drive, and there's the GNOME project. What's especially interesting is notice down here where our background process is going on. Click on that background number, and the background tasks window opens up, showing that it's actually copying the media in the background. It's about 30% done. When I close this, even though it's copying in the background, I can skim around all these clips. I could change the in and the out of a clip. I could edit it down to the timeline, because as soon as I start to do foreground activity, notice that my background stops. As soon as I stop doing foreground activity, the copying continues. See, it's copying again. It's about 50% done. And if I play, notice that the percentage has stopped at 53%. So I don't have to worry about waiting for this copying to be complete. Final Cut takes care of it for me automatically, and I can still work with exactly the same media, either in the timeline or the event browser, just by clicking and skimming on it. All right, so what we've done is we've moved the GNOME project from where it was, the second drive, to where it's going, the third drive. But what happens if I want to copy some media? Well, it's very cool. Watch this. Grab the media itself, drag it on top of the hard drive, and when you let go, it says duplicate event. It's going to make a copy. The media is now going to exist on two drives, both the second drive and the third drive. And I'm going to store it to the third drive and click OK. And it goes through, and look at that. It's made a copy of it. Now, you could have renamed this, but then I wouldn't be able to show you that it's a copy. There's the original, and there's our copy. All right. Well, what happens if I want to merge two projects together? For instance, let's say that the Vint Cerf Education was talking about gnomes. He isn't actually. He's talking about education. But let's just say we did. I grab the project, drop it on top of another project, and when I let go, it says, I'm going to merge these events. It's going to move all the files from the old location on my second drive to whatever drive I specified. Do I want to put it on one of the 4 drives that are attached to my system? Now, in this particular case, I don't want to merge, so I'm going to click Cancel. But if you clicked OK, all the files from the original location would be combined with the files of the new location. So we can create a new event, File, New Event, or we can copy by dragging an event on top of another drive. We can move an event by highlighting it and going to File, Move Event. We can merge events by stacking 2 events on top of each other. And we can delete events by control-clicking and say Move Event to Trash. By the way, when I say control-click, it's the exact same thing as right mouse clicking. It's a long-time habit I'm having a hard time breaking. What happens, though, if I have a clip that I want to do something with? If I wanted to rename a clip, you highlight the clip, or let's just, look at this. See this thing down here? This allows you to determine how long a clip. I'm going to see 5 seconds of a clip, or I want to see 30 seconds of a clip. In this case, I want to see long chunks of clips, so each clip is its own little entity, but I can change that by grabbing and dragging, and now I see closer and closer slices of what Dr. Cerf is talking about. If you don't want to see audio waveforms, click the switch and say, no waveforms, please. It just makes the clips less tall. The audio is still there, just not displayed. If you want to change the height of the clip, grab the appearance and drag it so you can have clips which are really, really tall, or clips which are kind of tiny. Depends upon how you want to squeeze them in. You toggle that clip appearance by switching the switch on or off. All right, let's say that I want to rename this clip. You simply click on it and say, this is Stay in School. Press the Enter key, and its clip has been renamed. Or you could highlight the clip and go over here to the Get Info button, and when you click it, it opens up the Get Info window. Scroll all the way to the top and you're able to rename the clip here in the Get Info window. This also gives you access to a lot more keywords or metadata about your clip. We're going to talk a lot about this in Chapter 5. For right now, I'm just going to hide this. Clicking the Get Info button opens that window and closes the window. If I want to move the clip into a different project, click the clip to select it, grab it with the hand, and drop it on top of where you want it to go. And I've now moved it into the GNOME project. And there is our GNOME video, and down here, as part of that project, is the Dr. Surf video. What Final Cut actually does in the background is it copies the clip from the old location to the new location, so now you have two copies of the clip. If you need to delete a clip, right mouse click on it and say Move to Trash. And it says, are you sure you want to move it? Because I'm going to delete this reference. Now here, let me explain this dialog. This media file will be moved to the trash, but if I link to the file and it's stored somewhere else on my hard disk, that linked file will not be deleted. In this case, I don't need this duplicate, so I'm going to click OK, and the duplicate clip is now deleted. You remember I mentioned that there's two ways that we can view clips. We can view with the film strip view, which is this icon here, or we can view with list view. List view shows us one clip, whichever clip we have highlighted down here. And we can then skim through that clip. The nice thing about list view is that we can sort it in a wide variety of different categories. To control sorting, you use this gear icon, and you can group your events by date, or by disk, or date range, or a variety of other criteria that are available to us. So sort order is controlled here. Group clips by, you would then say, I don't want them grouped at all if you want to go back to a default sort order. Or you could say, yes, please, group them by the date they were created or the date they were imported or any of these other criteria, and sort by ascending or descending order. The event library is a list of all the events that you have stored on all your connected hard drives. The event browser are the specific clips inside a single selected event that you click on in the event library. Unlike the browser in Final Cut 7, the event library shows all media on all connected hard disks. You no longer need to import media into the browser to access it, you just click it. While you can only have one Final Cut Events folder per drive, you can store an unlimited number of events and clips in one Final Cut Events folder. To move an event, select it and use File, Move Event. Remember that dragging a clip into a second event duplicates the media. And to delete an event or to delete a clip, select it and press Command-Delete. My name is Larry Jordan, and thanks for watching this Final Cut Pro 10 training.